How's it going, my friends? Back with another video today. Just wanted to do a topic that a bunch of people have asked me to do this topic on, or a video on this topic. We went to our 2 weddings this weekend with this in mind, okay? We wanted to make a tutorial about off-camera flash and how we use it for weddings. Now, this is one of those things that's not a staple. We don't know exactly what the wedding is going to be like when we go there at first. So it's not all the time that we're going to be using off-camera flash for creative portraits. You know, guys, when you first start doing weddings, everything is completely different, like 99% of the time when you go to a wedding. Yes, there's, you know, first dances, there's cake cutting, the ceremonies and stuff like that are pretty much the same, but the lighting, the props, the areas that you can go shoot in, the different creative tools that you can use and different environment elements that you can use are always different. So it's not like every single time we go there, we're gonna definitely take the flash and use it for a bunch of different, you know, type of photos that we're gonna make. But just so happens that these 2 last weddings that we went to, we were really inspired to start using the flash. So we thought it would be a perfect opportunity to make this video and kind of just go through a few of the photos that we took and kind of dissect exactly how we did it. Now, a couple things about off-camera flash, guys. You want to make sure that you have a trigger and you want to make sure that you have a flash that's reliable. You guys saw from my what's in my gear bag or what's in my bag, you know, video that I made. We use Godox stuff. Well, I should put links to everything that we use. It's all in that other video, but we use the Godox flash system with the Z, and it was also on my D850 when I had those, and my D810. Godox is great because it always fires. I mean, I never really have to worry about it. The batteries are phenomenal. I can use the same flashes like heavily and get them like 3 weddings. I always charge them every single time, but I could probably go 3 weddings because it's never less than like 3/4 power whenever I leave. They're great batteries. So they fire all the time, great batteries, and also they're not that expensive. You know, like even if you bust a flash up or something like that, they're pretty rugged. I haven't had to replace mine in like a year, but they always freaking work. I mean, and that's the thing is my gear, you guys know, I just want it to be out of my way. So we use the Godox flash system, and then the other thing that we use is a mag mod system. So basically it's just a magnet that goes around the top of the flash and you could put different attachments onto it. Gels, grids, light modifiers, things like that. So we use a couple different ones, and I'll explain them as we're going through the videos, or I'm gonna flip over to my laptop and I'll show you guys the photos and kind of dissect it that way, and I'll let you guys know which modifiers I used as I was making the photos. But things that you want to remember about off-camera flash, guys. Once you have your flash system, you have your trigger, it's not that difficult to set up and use. The trigger itself can control like a bunch of different flashes. I mean, a bunch of different groups and, you know, areas and things. I don't really use that. We use 1, maybe 2 flashes max. We have 3, but usually it's only 1 or 2. And we just set the group and then, you know, just control the flash from the top of the camera on the trigger. It's very, very simple. But you just want to make sure you get something that works for you. So once you've learned to operate it, this tutorial is going to focus on 3 different directions of light, okay? The thing you want to remember, guys, is you don't want to get too overwhelmed. You want to start, when you're learning off-camera flash, you want to break it down to very small digestible sections that you can learn and kind of take it in and master one by one. So I want you guys to learn backlighting with the off-camera flash. I want you to learn overhead lighting and off to the side lighting, okay? So it's one of those 3 directions that you're gonna use your off-camera flash when you're doing these portraits. Never ever just have something coming straight at it, because otherwise, why would you put it off camera? Just stick a flash on the top and you're gonna get the same thing. You're always gonna wanna be like almost 90 degrees off to the side, or you're going to want to be behind for backlight. Or another thing that I don't see a lot of people talking about, which I really like, is directional lighting from above, okay? So above lighting is a really cool effect. It casts really different shadows depending on how you're using it, you know, on the face, you know, and just the separation of light and shadows is really dramatic when it's coming from overhead. So I'm going to give you guys some good examples of that. But basically, you want to focus on those 3 directions, and, you know, when you're working with clients who aren't professional photographers, I know that this stuff can be kind of like overwhelming. Using flash, it's like, oh, what do I do? Like, I don't want to screw it up, or I don't want to be messing with my settings in front of the clients. I don't want to look like an idiot, basically. But you have to remember, guys, as long you just slow it down a little bit, and as long as your trigger is connected to your flash, and you only think about one of three directions of where the light's coming from, 90 degrees, the back, or overhead, and you kind of think about creating portraits that way, it makes things much, much easier. Flash is so important. Off-camera flash is so important, guys. Yes, there's great photographers. This is like kind of this trend. I've seen a few photographers say that they're not going to use flash at all at weddings, and hey, you know, with mirrorless cameras and the ISO capabilities, that's certainly possible nowadays. You know, you don't, it's not like back in the day where like ISO 2500 was pretty much the max you could shoot at. I can use my Z6, I'm perfectly comfortable shooting at ISO 5000, and the pictures are fully deliverable. But when you use off-camera light and you understand how to bounce it off things, how you understand how to place it, you understand how to move it around to create the story and the dynamic that you want, it starts to give your pictures a whole different level of depth and interesting elements that you can control. See, the good thing about mastering off-camera lights is you don't have to wait for the perfect light. You can create it yourself. And so I think it's really, really important that you guys understand this is not a super complicated thing. A lot of photographers get overwhelmed with flash. I did in the beginning. I thought it was like an enigmatic type of, you know, magic thing that was like super complicated, but it's really not, guys. I want you to remember, you expose for your ambient lights first, okay? So you do not turn your flash on. You set your exposure, and this is super easy on a mirrorless camera because you're literally just looking through the EVF. If you want to expose for some lights in the room, or you want, you know, a certain type of like low light vibe or whatever, you get that set first, and then you turn on your trigger. You set it to 132. That's where I always start. Take a test shot, okay, and see if you need to dial it up or down. And that's it, guys. You really should only take like maybe 3 photos before you have that flash dialed in perfectly, three test photos, and then you can kind of just experiment with different angles and moving it around. Use the light stick that I showed you, attaching the flash and onto a monopod, and you can kind of move it around and have it from the outside. That's a good technique. Or just put it, if you don't have an assistant to hold it. In my case, I have my wife, Sarah. She usually holds the flash, or, you know, whatever, but you could put it on a flash stand. You know, I use the Manfrotto monopods. Very, very easy, very simple, very small and compact, and you can just kind of set them and move them around. So, guys, just remember, it's not overwhelmingly difficult. Just set your ambient first, turn on your trigger, set it to 132, take a test shot, decide if you need to dial it up or down, and then you're good to go. And that's basically it. And then you can kind of move the flash around as you're going. So I'm going to flip you guys over to the laptop. I'm going to bring up a few photos that we took, and I'm going to kind of just dissect them a little bit so you guys can see exactly how we did it. It's not magic, guys. It's not rocket science, but I just think it's good to remind you that, hey, you know, this can be done, and it can be done fairly simple, especially with the technology that's out there. All right, let's flip around, and I'm going to show you guys the photos. Okay, guys, so this is the first one that I wanted to show you. This is from the wedding on Saturday that we did, and we were up in New Hampshire. The mountains are in the background, so obviously I wanted to, you know, kind of use them. The thing with this, guys, is before you start off using the flash, you want to look around you and take into account exactly what's going on in the scene. So in this case, we had some beautiful landscape. I wanted to use that. But it could be a beautiful venue, it could be something indoors. I mean, it could be all different things, but the first thing that I always do when I'm about to set up off-camera flash is not think about lighting the couple. It's thinking about lighting them in conjunction of what's going on in the scene. So you always want to assess the scene first. Basically, I say this all the time. I think I said this in one of my other videos. You are like a landscape photographer, but you're placing people in the landscape to make it interesting. So what you want to do is just look around you, find interesting places, and be like, all right, you know, if I was a landscape photographer, that looks beautiful. How can I place somebody in the scene and then light them up to make it like dynamic? So in this case, this one, we wanted to use the sky and use the mountain line. And so I put them right under. I put them under the mountain line, and the way I did that was I stood up kind of on a hill. So I was higher than they were, so I was kind of shooting down, and they were below the mountain line. So what I did then was I underexposed everything like dramatically. So you only had this the sky for the light, and then you had this mountain line ridge. So obviously I couldn't see them, but I exposed for that mountain line ridge right there against the sky. And so once I put them in the darkness, like under the mountain line, then all I had to do was have Sarah stand off to the side with a flash with a grid on it. She was about, I'd say probably about 3.5, 4 feet away with it. And she just hit him about, 45 degrees, 90 degrees to my right. And that's it. It was just one blast of light, guys. So you want to assess, okay, I want to put the person here. I know what I want to expose for, which is the sky in this case, and then, just hit them with a blast of light. So this is a good example of light coming in from the side. If I just had it blasting right at them, it wouldn't look good, and also if I didn't have the flash, it would have spilled out too much. So I'm sorry, if I didn't have the grid. So the grid contains the light, and then you have it off to the side to create more dynamic light. All right, so this is pick number 2 I wanted to show you guys. It's from the same wedding, and this is the getting ready portion of the day, obviously. Now, basically, this was in total, like, regular light. We were there. We got there at, like, 12:30, and, I shot this at probably, like, 1 in the afternoon. So they're getting ready. They're getting their makeup done. And what we did for this one, this is a good example of overhead lighting, okay? So what we did is we took the flash and we put a snoot on it. Now, if you guys don't know what a snoot is, it's basically a modifier that's going to shrink the light beam down to a very small beam. We wanted it very contained, and we did not want it to spill. I mean, you can use a grid to contain the light, but this is actually even more. I mean, this literally contains it down to just a very small opening. So I just wanted just her lips and the makeup exposed. So that's what it is, guys. And all we did was we held it right overhead. I had Sarah stand basically right above. The snoot is on the flash, and it's literally just shooting straight down on top of them, and it's probably like 2 feet away. Super easy, guys. I mean, the off-camera flash stuff isn't that difficult. All you have to do is just expose. You have to see the vision in your head first. I knew that I just wanted this lit up right in the middle, just the lips and emphasis on that. So I just exposed everything so it's basically dark. I was at like 1/8,000th of a second. And then I just had a light right overhead, about 2 feet away maybe, with the snoot on it and just a little beam of light right over the top. It's a good example of a different angle. The first one was off to the side. This one's right off the top. And, it's just moving around. Those 3 different angles, guys. Over the top, off to the side, and back. Very simple. All right, here's another one I wanted to show you, and this is a great example of backlight. So this was on the wedding on Saturday night, and this was the last shot of the night. I do not leave the wedding unless I get one shot with the flash that I feel like is a really cool dramatic wow shot, just because I like that type of stuff. So I try and just not leave until I get one. Now the challenge obviously comes at the end of the night. Usually they've had a ton to drink, and these guys were partying. This couple was partying pretty hard. So I convinced them to do one last shot, and I'm so glad I did. It's very simple and not complicated, but it's just an example of good backlighting to get the vision and the imagination going, and showing something about how you can kind of look around you, take in your surroundings, and then just create something simple using what you have available. So in this case right here, what I did is I was out, they had this deck on the outside, and I saw these string lights, and there was a ton of people behind them. I mean, there was like a ton of people behind these two. Everybody was like watching us do this shot. Even though obviously it's underexposed, so you can't tell, it looks like it's private, there was a ton of people around. So all I did was I got low, so I had more of the lights in the frame, and I exposed for the string lights. That's it. So I brought everything down. I brought I brought all the light down. I brought my shutter speed way up. My aperture was at f4 here, and no, I'm sorry, it was this was at f2.8. This was at 2.8, yeah. And all I did was expose for those string lights, got a little bit low, and I just had Sarah go behind with the gridded flash. And so that's it, guys. Now, what we did with the flash is we just put the grid on it with the mag mod system, just slaps right on top with the magnets. And then she just crouched down a little bit, and I wanted a little bit of the bride's face, as you can kind of see. So it wasn't directly behind her. It was a little bit off to the side, kind of pointed at her more. But you can experiment, and that's the thing. But it's just an example. All you have to do is just find something in your head. Be like, okay, I want to expose for those lights, and then place somebody in it and figure out where you want the flash to come from, whether you want it to be a backlit shot, you want it to be an overhead lit shot, or you want it to be lit from the side. Those three angles, guys, those are the ones that are going to create like really compelling images, and they're not that difficult to master. And those are the ones that you want to get under your belt first, in my opinion. But yeah, very, very simple, guys. This is that shot at, like I said, 1/32nd power. All these were at 1/32nd power. I just leave it on that. I usually don't I deviate from that when I'm doing portraits. I kind of set my exposure around the 1/32nd, and I just kind of move it in and out as I need more power. But that's it, guys. All right, here's the last one I wanted to show you guys from the night. Basically, this is just a groomsman best man and groom portrait. I like to always get at least one, special shot for the groom and his best man at every wedding. Doesn't happen every single time, but I always try. Just something that's special that they can kind of just take home together. Because, I feel like a lot of wedding photographers sometimes kind of like look over the best man and they just focus more on the bride. So they always appreciate stuff like this. So obviously it's towards the end of the night. They're smoking cigars. And I pulled them aside and I was like, hey guys, you want to go take this shot? And it was very, very simple. You guys can do this with a flash stand. Like I said, in my case, I have my wife, Sarah. She helps me out with this stuff. And it's very simple. I just took them to a dark corner. What I did with the smoke was I took them to this, like it was the building was blocking all the wind that was coming, so the smoke didn't blow away. And we went in the corner and I just a gridded flash right behind them. Simple, guys. I told them to take the cigars, kind of look at each other, take a big drag off it so we get a lot of smoke, and then just shot the flash right in. Like I said, 1/32nd power. The Z6 focused perfectly in low light right there. And yeah, that's it, guys. So I mean, this is just another example. You don't have to have a partner to do this. You could do it with a flash stand, but it's very, very simple. It's not difficult. Expose for what you want to expose for first. Set it to turn on your trigger, set it to 132 power, and then take a couple test shots and see where you go with it, man. I'm telling you, once you start using flash, it's going to open up so many different creative possibilities. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is 3 different angles that I wanted to show you. I know it's not too long, but I figured that this would help because a lot of people have been asking me about, my off-camera flash and how I do it. So please, guys, give me some feedback on this. Let me know if this helps. I hope it really does. And just let me know, if you guys are going to be using this or if you have any other questions at all, please do not hesitate to ask, guys. All right, until next time.